This home is a Tudor Revival home built in 1927. We're the third owners here, so it really has not changed very much from the day that they first put a key in the door and the first owners moved in. This is a two-bedroom home and two very modest bedrooms. It's unique in that it has a very high-pitched roof. That's part of the style architecturally. It has a rolled roof so that the eaves are rolled, the edges roll over. And also the coved ceilings, the plasterwork inside, all of that is really very reminiscent of that style and the revival of that style. Mr. Ashurst worked at the refinery. He was a white-collar worker at the refinery and may have had a hand in designing some of the house. There are a few homes with this architectural style, but they were not homes that were especially common. There seemed to be a number of variations. A lot of the details of this house are seen in some of the other houses that are similar. You have the sconces, which are unique, the chandelier work, the Batchelder tiles, that sort of thing. So you'll see some of that in some of the other homes, but nothing that is a duplicate, not like it was a tract house. In this part of Old Torrance, there seem to have been the homes that are quite large, have a number of bathrooms, many bedrooms, where the management of the various industries in Torrance would have lived. Then you have the folks like the people that lived in this house, kind of the white-collar workers, and then people who were actually getting the work done in places like the steel mill and at the refinery, or the kind of average blue-collar workers. This home, I believe, was probably a rather expensive home for the time, 1927. It was $7,300. It's a very small, big house. We have a formal dining room. We have a breakfast nook. It has a wonderful front porch and a side porch. The living room is of a nice scale. So it's as though they've taken a large house and kind of shrunk it down. They put all of the amenities in to kind of give it a nice elegance and warmth to it. Certainly the features that we appreciate would be the original mailboxes in there, where nobody receives just letters anymore. The windows and the doors are also one of the features that are particular to the Tudor Revival, that they are curved. So both in the second bedroom and in the living room, you have these wonderful curved windows. So this is the original refrigerator, or the ice box is actually what it was. The iceman would come in through the back porch, and he wouldn't have to come into the house. He'd just come into what is now the laundry room, and there's a little access door, so he'd have his block of ice with him, and he'd open that access door and slip it into this middle section right here. So here we have the original ironing board, right? It's always great for a quick press when you've got to go out. But what would you do with your hot iron back in the day? Well, of course, you had a place where you could put it. This would come out, and the hot iron would end up resting there and cooling off when you went off to church or off to your great social event. Batchelder was a great craftsman and worked in ceramics, all sorts of things in ceramics, but really is known for tiles. And his studio, his pottery, was set up in Pasadena. And you could go there, you could look through a catalog, which would be paintings, drawings of the various kinds of tiles, and select what you wanted. So if you had an English-style house, such as this, a Tudor-style house, you'd have this small, low hearth, and then you would have this scene that is a scene of various countrysides. There's a waterfall, there's the moon, there's the kind of country cottage and the hills in the background and some oak trees growing. And so you would have selected something like that because it goes with the architectural style of the house. When we got the house originally, the fireplace had been painted. So all of the fine work that you see on the hearth and around the fireplace was a mess. Same with many of the wood surfaces. They had been painted or they hadn't been taken care of. I think there's a certain sense of responsibility when you walk into a place like this and you see that it's very close to original and it's as old as it is. This home is considered by many to be a historic treasure. That it is recognized as having a place in the history of the city when the city was starting to do well financially in what were rather difficult times. And so when people see these homes and recognize that they've been around for 70, 75, 80 years, some of them older, it really is an opportunity for them to find a pride in place, that they can recognize that their city was established quite a while ago and it thrived quite nicely. And they're a benchmark.